everyone, and welcome to a special Halloween edition of H&H Debriefing. We wanted today to talk a little bit about the paranormal romances we love, because we are nothing if not appreciative of paranormal romance at Halloween. Look for our very special, very massive Halloween sweepstakes that we have coming up in a couple hours on the site. We are pretty sure you're going to love some of the treats that we have to offer this year. And I thought I'd kick things off. I love the idea of paranormal romance, but I don't actually read a lot anymore. I've been trying to think of some of my favorites, and I realized that I really more tend to read fantasy rather than paranormal exactly. So I would love recommendations from the community about some other paranormals to try these days and what you're really loving, so let me know. I really love psychic, so I was thinking about how I used to really love the Linda Howards with psychics. Jenn is looking at me like I'm crazy, but I loved those. I thought they were...
I think that's a really funny niche. Like, you know, I don't really read paranormals, but I read psychics.
I have a thing for psychics and, like, heroes that can read the heroine's mind, and they have this, like, special connection, and I love it.
I hate that.
Really?
I
love it.
absolutely
I love
hate
it.
it. Yeah.
I think it goes with the friends to lovers trope, in that they know each other really well and the connection kind of comes from that. So I think that psychic connection just kind of, it's kind of tied with the trope that I really love. I love when they can, like, read each other's minds and find out how they feel about each other.
See, I have read Paranormal Romances, especially I remember reading this in the Lindsay Sands Argonaut series, where the rule was they weren't your true love unless they couldn't read your mind, because a happy relationship, like, if they could control each other and manipulate each other and read each other's thoughts, then it wasn't meant to be, because you couldn't be, like, your own person.
That is awesome. See, that would be one of those exceptions that actually makes it even cooler. I love that.
Well, I always thought that the Argonaut series was really interesting. I haven't been keeping up with it very much, but, like, in the beginning, I always thought it was very interesting because they really, like, Lindsay Sands really explains how the whole world works and gives a scientific explanation behind the paranormal elements. And the first book takes place at a romance convention, so, I mean, like, you really can't go wrong with that.
That's really cool. And I love witches, too, and magic. Basically anything that's kind of psychic-ish. I like monsters, as long as they're not too scary, and ghosts and things like that. I'm a weird person, so throw the kitchen sink at me and I will see what I can read, and I'll update you guys eventually on what paranormals I've tried lately. Otherwise, I've been kind of reading historical and contemporary because I love them a lot. Christine Feehan is another one. I think she does some psychic stuff, and I don't know, I think it's fascinating. I love the tortured heroes, and they're the only ones that can, the heroine's the only one that can read their mind or whatever. I think it's great. I don't know. Whatever.
No, I can't even go there with you with the psychics. But, and actually you say witches, and I hate witches too. I just, you know.
So then are you a straight vampire person?
I am pretty much a straight vampire person. Ooh. In urban fantasy, I'll deal with what?
No, I was just going to say, for vampires, I loved The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, which is a YA, but I thought that was really, really, really good. So it's not that I don't like vampires. I think I just burned out a bit. But you clearly still love them. So what kind of keeps you coming back for more every time?
Well, you know, I wouldn't say, actually, that I've been coming back for more. I haven't read a paranormal I read J.R. Ward's The King, of course. I'm still keeping up with that series, even though it's been a little bit disappointing. Definitely not what it was in the beginning, but I still love it. And I haven't read a lot of stuff lately. But to go back, my favorite stuff is, like, traditional vampire. I've been living on my own forever. I'm lonely and tortured and standing on the hill and very cold, and here's the heroine. Yeah,
it's the best.
And then
you want your hero to suffer. I mean,
yes,
I think all of us do.
Yeah, I do. And I read a lot more now urban fantasy and regular fantasy, and so that's where witches come in and whatever. But I'm still, you know, I definitely give them the side eye until they prove themselves.
Ghosts.
Yes, Downside Ghost. Yes, she's awesome. That's urban fantasy, though. That's not paranormal. So, and I loved, let's see, Janine Frost. I love the Vlad series. You know, the Fever series is urban fantasy, I think, the Karen Marie Moaning, and I love that. J.R. Ward. I'm trying to think of what else. I have gotten tired of the watered down vampires, like, oh, they can do this and they can do that. Like, not that I think there should be a covenant for vampires, haha, but I feel like there needs to be some angst and some torture and some limitations to their world, and I'm finding in some of the stuff that maybe I look at the back of the book or the blurb or whatever, and I'm like, I've been there, whatever, and it doesn't seem exciting to me. So I haven't read as much. I'm on board with the next Karen Marie Moaning. I am on board with the next J.R. Ward. I love Kresley Cole, as Jenn does, as we all know, and but I keep up with that series, but I'm not really reading a lot of it right now.
I think like with every subgenre, you just need something new and surprising. You need something to surprise you.
Yeah, that's why I still very much keep up with paranormal romance. I'm always kind of willing to try a little bit of everything. I'm not one of those people who's like, vampires are so overdone, just,
Well, you have to recommend
walk
them
into the sun.
Because I think I'm not as familiar with them.
Right. So, actually, Sahara Hoshi and Williful and a few other of our bloggers and I have been like kind of recommending to each other various paranormal romances. It's actually a lot of the reason why I picked up Frozen by Melvin Brooke was just a lot of people were chatting about that. That's one I recommended last week for my October favorites. And so it really got me wanting to try more Melvin Brooke. Of course, I'm a huge Kresley Cole fan. You may or may not have noticed.
Oh. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Huh. Yeah, no idea that I was a Kresley Cole fan. I didn't even really know until like all of a sudden I was looking at all my paranormal romances are Kresley Cole. No, that pretty much she populates my favorites list on my Kindle. So I love all of those, and I think she in particular has just a fresh way of looking at things. I think we're constantly looking for ways to freshen up the genre, and I think that she's one that's kept her series consistent and fresh. But I'll stop talking about that for a second. One of my new favorites actually recently has been Cynthia Eden. I have been loving her Phoenix Fire series. I just picked up her, oh gosh, what's the name of that series? But it still deals with werewolves and vampires, and I have just absolutely been loving it. But I am blanking on the title of that novel right now. I am bad, but check out Cynthia Eden. She's a must-read. But yeah, and I plan on binge reading some Suzanne Wright because she's been recommended over and over, and I think I might actually check out that Hedgehog romance. So yeah.
And the new Laurie Handelin series that we just revealed on the site, those gorgeous covers. Yes. The first book is Into the Air. That looks right up my alley. I love like sisters and a trilogy and witches, so I'm really excited about that one too.
Yeah, that one definitely caught my eye as well, and we got so many comments and so many people were kind of, evangelizing this book and these series and these authors. So I am definitely going to be checking out that one too. Yeah. So I guess that's it for our Halloween video. Yeah. So let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on psychics and witches and vampires and all of those things. And
tell us what to read. We need your thoughts.
Yes, we are always wanting more thoughts because we need to, we all need the recommendations, and our TBR piles of course aren't, big enough already. So we always need to add more to that. So yeah, happy Halloween, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.